Today's video, we're going to talk about running Google Ads on a small budget. Can you do it and can you make it work? Starting with as little as $10 US a day or even less. Yes, you can with the strategy and process I'm going to give you here. The reason why I made this video is because I hear people all the time saying, hey, Corey, I only have this much money to start with. Can I make it work? The answer always is yes. But, and if you understand the key things that you have to do with somebody with a micro budget, that somebody with a big budget isn't going to necessarily have to do. I'm Corey Zyman, owner of Guaranteed PPC Agency, an agency that's been around for 10 years now and that has worked with hundreds of clients, and of which we guarantee results for our clients. The information I share with you on this channel and on this video today is coming from somebody who does all the strategy at our firm and information that we use to guarantee results for our clients so that you understand how to get guaranteed results for your own stuff, for your own company. If you're starting out on Google Ads, the one thing you always got to know is, it doesn't matter what your budget is starting out, it's only a matter of how hard you're gonna want to work to make that small budget you're starting with work for you. And the guy that you see in your space already advertising that spends so much money, more than likely he started out just like you. The difference between him and the other 30 people who tried, advertised for a little bit and stopped, which you can see people doing this all the time if you track the ad space enough, or you just track people running their YouTube ads or whatever. They did the work, they put in the work necessary to make that starting ad budget profitable. And they knew their numbers. So many people don't understand that if they're generating leads, how many leads do they need to be profitable on that starting spend? You got to look at your closing rate on leads that you get. That is leads being phone calls, form fills, that kind of thing. Closing rates. What is an average customer worth? What is the margins that you have? So you understand you can back this out to a cost per lead that's profitable to your company. Then it's real simple. Take your small budget that you have, whatever it is, whether it's $5 a day, $10 a day, whatever, get to your cost per lead that you already now know you need to be profitable at the level of return on an investment. And then once you hit there, you should be jumping up and down for joy because it's all downhill from there. You're just going to slowly ramp up your ad budget, and 3 to 5 years down the road, you're going to be the big guy in your space. And it all just started with having the right plan right from the get-go. So with that said, I'm going to tell you what this process is, just that you can use to make a small budget work and get your campaigns off of the ground. You ever have everything you need to do this for yourself by the end of the video. And then of course, I'm going to talk about what kind of money can be made and how soon you can make it by the end of the video if you go ahead and you watch all the way to the end of this particular video as well for you. So I'll have if you will, what you're going to be able to gain by doing the process that I'm giving you here and putting that time in to actually do things right for yourself at the very beginning. So getting into the content, you can start out on Google Ads with as little budget as you basically want. If you wanted to spend $1 a day, that would be totally fine. All you will have to do is just generally wait longer to have a profitable account that can start scaling. That is, like I just got done explaining a moment ago, that you hit your cost per lead that you need to be profitable, or if you're just generating, all you're doing is trying to get cart sales, a level of ROI that's profitable to your business. Here's the key thing that you got to know as somebody who wants, practically speaking, either wants to spend a little bit of money before it works, they see it work, or they only have so much money to spend before they see it work. Either or, the more money you have to throw at getting your results initially with your account, the quicker you're going to get to the profitable results with your account. And so if you have more money than time, and you got money on deck to invest in something, you just don't know what, it would actually be a decent idea to throw a healthy budget at the Google Ads because you're going to acquire data quicker. You, most of the time, need a certain minimum amount of data built up in your account with the tracking working for the system to understand how to actually get you the results. Given that most things you do, 80% of the results and sales that you're getting is going to come from 20% of what you're doing. To find out where the 20% is, you got to advertise for a while. So no matter how good your setup is in the beginning, that's generally basically going to be the case. So with that said, you've got to throw some money at it. And if you're spending $1 a day, gather way less data in 3 months than you will if you had $100 a day to throw at the account. That said, by the way, I'd actually don't advocate for clients to come to us and then tell them that they need to have even more than $100 a day budget. Why? Because you don't really need it. People say, hey, Corey, I have, how much do I need? I can spend 20 grand a month on this. campaign to get started. And I say, don't do that, because it's going to take time for us to learn what part of what we're doing, where the actual meat is, where the actual sales are coming from. And during that time, I mean, I'm a little selfish to say it, I don't want to be pressure in a pressure cooker to get things to work so fast, because we need time to figure out where that 20% is. If somebody's dumping 20 grand a month into it, they're going to expect that things happen sooner. And no matter what you're doing, if you're in a competitive market, it's going to take us some time. Find the 20% and then hit profitability with your ads, and then you can scale. And that could be 90 days, 180 days, 270 days. It'll generally take longer the smaller your budget is, but also it's just depending on how the level of competition in your space, it will take longer. And we'll start out typically with $100 a day only, because that's all we need to get the initial data, hit initial profitability, and then scale up from there. That's perfectly fine. That said, and partially part of that is because, people got to pay us. A lot of times we don't take fees up front from our clients until we hit a certain level of profitability with their account. But respectively speaking, our goal is to make it profitable. And if you're spending, $10 a day, it's pretty hard for us to show profit after paying us with that kind of volume going through your account. You need a certain minimum amount of spend just for us to generate you a profit after our agency fees, given there's minimum fees, and that's because there's so much work to get done. And with that, you get only some of the benefit when you have a tiny budget using the setup that we give you. That we got to have a client with a $100 a day budget. Otherwise, generally speaking, it doesn't make a lot of sense to work together. Or should I say at least $50 a day budget. If you didn't have the $50 a day budget, I tell people all the time, you could start out with $10 a day. You're just going to have to spend time initially running your own campaign on that $10 a day to get some initial traction with it. And when you can spend $50, come back and we can work together, and I can take it to the stratosphere for us. And so, with that, respectively, you could be not an expert advertiser as long as you have the right conversion tracking set up in your account to track actual sales. Even if you're generating leads or actually tracking sales and you're feeding that sales data in your account, that starting spend that you have, it's not a matter of if it will hit the ROI that you want, assuming you have a half-decent ad and a half-decent landing page. It's a matter of when. How long is it going to take to acquire the minimum data that you need in order for you to find out where is the customers profitable to get in what you're doing, whether that be a display campaign, YouTube campaign, search campaign, whatever, shopping campaign. And because Google's system will automatically self-correct. It'll say that worked, that didn't work. And that $10 a day budget, you'll start out with something like, a 50% ROI at the very beginning for the first month what you're doing. The second month, you'll get 100% ROI because the system weeded out some of whatever is not getting you sales already, and then reallocated your budget to more so to what has been working or trying some new things. Then the third month, you'll get like a 200%. Fourth month, it'll be 400%, and it'll just keep going. And you're investing in the data more than anything else at the beginning that tells you where you can get the ROI that you're looking for. And then you're, like I said, home free, because basically at that point in time, you can slowly spend more money and figure out on the new spend, where's the 10% that worked there to get, or can get you the ROI that you're looking for. And then you do another 10% more spend on your account or through your account, setting up maybe some other campaigns or another ad or another audience that you're targeting, if you will. And you just keep walking things up. Typically at our agency, we're going to be happy with already just being able to scale the ad spend 10 or 20% a month. That doesn't sound like a lot, but when you compound that over 5 years, you can take a starting $10 a day budget, eventually afford to spend, like $5,000 a day, if you will. You just got to put the work in that the next 10, 20% increase in spend that you're doing, that will actually, you're able to get to where, you find the productive part of it, and then you just keep doing that over and over again. But with that said, so if you don't care about how long it takes and you're more focused on not spending too much money up front before it works, it's just going to take longer. That said, if you only have a $10 a day budget, what you're mostly doing is just stretching the time out. You still got to spend the same, let's say $3,000 in ad spend to gather the data that tells you what works versus what doesn't work. And so instead of spending $100 a day and getting that data that you need in a month, now at $10 a day, it's taking you 10 months to acquire the same level of data. So it's not going to save you money per se. It's going to just drag out the time it takes to get to that data. That said, it's still beneficial to businesses that you've got so much sales coming into your company, and that starting budget could be, let's say, 10% of your revenue you're investing into Google Ads, and you can't invest more than that because that's, you only have that much disposable income to invest, and that's fine. It's just you're going to have to keep investing in that account and the initial spend that you have longer to gather enough data to hit initial profitability, and that's the way that it is. That all said, you can make things happen quick and without spending too much money if you know the information that I'm going to share with you here next, and what I tell people to do that can't quite afford to spend what they need to spend, and for us to be able to deliver an ROI for you based upon there's just not enough sales volume that we're able to generate to justify and offset our fees. And I'm going to share with you what that is. I will say before I get into that as well, ultimately, all the stuff that I'm telling you on this channel, it's all coming from somebody, myself that is, who spends 40 hours a week doing ad testing and strategy for dozens of different ad accounts that I'm personally responsible in getting results for. The information, therefore, I'm sharing with you is highly, highly valuable, and it's going to be better, I promise you, than other information you're going to find on YouTube as well as on the web, because 99% of this crap is made by people who don't run ads, or they run a couple ads. They really aren't full-time ad strategists. Therefore, the information's not that useful, because just because you run an ad here and it works doesn't mean it'll work in 80% of the other cases. You got to literally have a view on 100 different accounts using that strategy across 100 accounts. Is it widely effective? Is it not? I have all that information. I give it to you on this channel, so you should subscribe here. And with that starting budget that you have of $10 a day, you'll have everything you need to make it work for free. And yes, I make it, it's kind of complex to get these results, but if you want the results and you want as quick of a return as you can possibly get on that $10 a day, and that is get the most sales you can the soonest, the information I'm giving you here will do it, because it will allow you to have your ads be better than your competition. And that's really what you need to make money with ads. I say it all the time on this channel. Furthermore, I have a blog on my site that actually show the strategies we're using to get guaranteed results for our clients, with step-by-step instructions, with screenshots, and all of that. You should also check that out as well if you're serious about making your starting budget work. That blog of mine that I write and keep up is at guaranteedppc.com/blog. Getting back into the content here in terms of understanding how you have a small budget and you actually going to get the results quickly instead of just waiting longer for the results to come in. Most people think for sure that they want to limit their losses up front, as they only have so much cash to throw at it. The perfect plan to limit how much you're losing up front comes from concentrating the investment, what you can invest into your account up front, into the best of the best of, or the most obvious places where a return can be gotten in your market. And then even within that, actually limiting it to less keywords, less audiences, less ads, all of it. Why? Because going back to the concepts I was talking about before, you got to figure out of everything you're doing, where's the 20% of it that worked? Well, if you actually, instead of targeting 100 keywords, if you're running search ads, for instance, if you focus all of your learning into just 1 or 2 keywords, you're hyper concentrating, the learning that you're going to get on that keyword, because a keyword is not just a keyword anymore. There's 5,000 different people who search for tax services as a keyword. You still got to find the 20% of that keyword that works. And if each keyword you need to have 500 clicks on it, get to where the results are on that keyword, and your $10 a day is spread out over 100 keywords, now you're really just stretching out the time it takes to get the minimum level of learning behind your account that it takes to hit profitability, and you're distilling it down and crunching that amount of time that it takes to get to the minimum clicks that you need to be able to be in position to make the daily spend that you have profitable, because you hyper concentrated your investment on just 1 or 2 things. And that's absolutely what I would encourage you to do. If you're running search ads, find the most obvious keyword. And the most obvious keyword, if you're talking about like local services or local anything, it's the word near me terms. Tax services near me, plumbing services near me, what have you. Or even if you're selling products like home medical supplies, elderly care supplies, it's elderly care supplies near me. Why? Because that has basically more in commercial intent, or should I say more purchase intent than anything else that you can target. That is, out of all the keywords you can target, what you're trying to do with this is to find the keywords that has the highest concentration of actual real buyers in it that you can get. Because if somebody types in elderly care supplies and you're selling, that's exactly what you sell, 50-50 chance that that person's actually a buyer who's going to be buying in the near future in your market. Half of them are not because they're looking for information or they're not ready yet. Whereas when somebody types in elderly care supplies near me, 90% chance now that that person who searches that level of search is going to be a customer in the near future. So if you're going to invest your $10 a day budget anywhere, it should be the term with the suffix of near me on it. If you're talking about like on a B2B service context, if you're selling B2B services or products, I'm going to have, particularly for services, I'm going to have the word services or firms or agencies at the end of my keyword for sure. Because again, it increases traffic we're going to get on that keyword is so much more highly concentrated with real buyers that it would make no sense not targeting that. And generally speaking, in a business to business context, if they are not, that is when you're selling to companies, not individuals. If they don't use firms, agencies, whatever at the end of the keyword, then you're not going to get a client anyway. Or should I say, it's not going to be profitable because the amount of people searching for CFO, let's say CFO outsourcing, there's not a high enough percentage of the people that turn it into clients for what Google is charging for a click. It's just not even profitable going after. Whereas CFO outsourcing services, totally different story. And then what we'll typically do there is just focus on the keyword services and forget about the outsourcing, even though you could get that to work, but it would take at the very least a lot longer to get it to work because going back to what I said before, you're going to need to collect a certain amount of data on that keyword to find the 5-10% of it that's actually profitable going after it. That is, somebody searches that keyword and if they were doing research beforehand, then that person's profitable enough to go after. Whereas if they haven't done any research, they're not, because somebody who's done research before, we know fits into the category of an actual buyer versus somebody who types in CFO outsourcing. A lot of those people are just looking for information, and therefore it's not profitable going after them. And with the right tracking setup where you're tracking sales and furthermore profit in your account, all that just becomes clear. Google does it all for you, practically speaking. But you're not going to let Google just do everything for you. You're going to set up and target the best keyword, the most obvious, most highly concentrated keyword with the most customers in it. Then on top of it, you're going to use the sales tracking to refine from there, where the refinement of what you're investing on there is done at a level that a human can't do. And now the algorithm that decides which subsegments that single keyword you're targeting into 5,000 different unique streams of traffic, it'll find the 10% in there that's actually profitable or the most profitable and just go after that. The main benefit that you have with the small budget is you don't have to go after the wishy-washy stuff. You can literally find the most obvious keyword that the average person's going to say, I need more volume than this. You don't need very much volume because you don't have enough ad budget to spend on getting all that volume. So you can just cherry pick the best of the best of the best of the best traffic and only go after that. If we're talking about search ads, that's pretty much the formula there. If you're selling product, you're like an e-commerce company, by the way, I'm going to target people typing in like pottery wheels for sale versus pottery wheels by itself, because that has way more higher concentration of actual buyers that we're going to be able to get through that. The person not using buy or for sale tied to the keyword. You get the general idea. So I gave you enough information to understand how to set up the search ads with the small budget to speed up the rate of hitting the initial profitability number or ROI that you need or cost per lead that you need. If you're doing YouTube ads or display campaigns or demand gen campaigns, first of all, I would not recommend doing that at first because the search ads are going to be profitable sooner. Why? Because you can go after the obvious buyers with the search ads easier than you can go after them with the YouTube campaign, because no matter how good your YouTube targeting is, you can't find people who are buyers as quickly because it's not as obvious. You can make a campaign profitable, but you're going to need more testing time, more data to get to the part of what you're doing that is profitable. In most cases anyway. There's some instances where running a video campaign is, if your video ad was showing up on a particular video, you can target a single video that has, like, let's say the video is about how do I find a pottery wheel for sale that's at least 3 horsepower? And then you had a video ad show up for that person that says, we sell 3 horsepower pottery wheels, click here to buy. In that case, that might actually be more profitable than going after, assuming people don't actually search for 3 horsepower pottery wheels enough that Google will let you bid on that keyword individually, because if a keyword doesn't have enough search volume, then they won't let you bid on it. That could be one instance where you start with the video ads, but for all practical purposes, you're generally going to start with search ads, because the amount of learning it takes is less with search ad to get it working, particularly when you're just targeting one keyword, the best of the best, most obvious keyword. If you had to go the YouTube angle, then like I was just saying, your best bet would be to actually target a single video. My favorite thing to do with video ads is just to target the competitors' videos. If somebody is on my competitor's channel, I'll just have my ad show up there. We had a situation where we were just selling toolboxes recently. With that, all we did was we targeted every video on a competitor's channels in the price range of our product, and we just, basically are guaranteed, because we know that person, if they're looking at those videos, they're in market for a toolbox. They don't look at those, generally speaking, just for fun. And we got something that can work right away, and we'll just target that whole channel. You could go even more precise with your budget and just go after a single video. Yes, you can still do this. So there might be a single video in the toolbox case, how to buy the best toolboxes to buy under $3,000, and then have our video ad show up there, because that even has even higher purchase intent, practically speaking, and could just start there. So you get the general idea of what we're doing, which is something we did in that case. You get the general idea. There are certain videos that explain to the user how to become a good buyer in your space. There's videos that talk that, your competitor who's already aggregated an audience of buyers, you can just interrupt them while they're watching those videos. Or there'll be a video where somebody reviewed your competitor's product or service, and you could just show up that. And if they're looking for reviews of that competitor, they're almost ready to buy. And then you can just interrupt them and say, which my favorite mode of operation there is, which really might piss off your competitors, but hey, it works, is to actually say, you are considering a Husky toolbox? Husky, here's why. And then you start talking, and then you explain obviously why your product doesn't have those disadvantages, and now you've got somebody who's already, you've turned them into a hot lead effectively. So those type of things can be a great place to start if you're talking about YouTube advertising. And if you're talking about display advertising, that is non-search engine advertising, that YouTube ads is where I would start, because nowhere else on the internet can you target somebody on such a hyper targeted level. That is, somebody who's watching a video on how to buy from you. There's no other, you know exactly that this person's going to buy soon. It's just a matter of who. And you could just laser target a certain grouping of videos, and you could get to profitability way sooner. This actually, by the way, could be a way to tap into non-search engine advertising, so that your investment to get non-search engine advertising to work can be the way, what I just told you, targeting single videos or single channels, can get to where you have to invest as little as possible up front to get it going and get it profitable, so that again, you're not investing too much into the ads before you have a baseline of campaign setup, and can start with the most productive part of what's out there to get with video ads as well. So YouTube ads get you somebody who's in market, ready to buy. You can go and run the demand gen campaigns and target people who have searched for buy toolboxes in the past, or buy Husky toolbox. We know that they're in market now for that particular type of toolbox. We can get in front of them with our demand gen campaign and say, and I like to break it down on a competitor by competitor basis, like we did there, where considering a Husky toolbox, don't buy, here's why, drive them to a video which explains why that's, and then again, why they should buy ours. You can do all that, if you will, with a demand gen campaign. It's just not as good as the YouTube campaign, because while they're watching a video about the Husky toolbox, it's going to be way easier to convert that into a customer than if they've just searched for a Husky toolbox in the recent past, and we're just going to interrupt them with our ad. So you always start with people that are actively looking at content to interrupt them first, because it'll convert 3 to 10 times better than somebody who's made a search and shown that they were interested in doing research and buying a product like yours and then interrupting them. So, and that same thing applies to display campaigns. An article that tells you how to buy a tool, that reviews the Husky Toolbox, having a banner ad show up on that web page and then getting that user to click through that ad to watch a video, why Husky, again, is not very good. It's profitable, if you will, and it'd be way more profitable than somebody who just was searching for Husky Toolbox reviews, and with that, you had a banner ad show up for somebody that says, that Husky Toolboxes aren't good, but it showed up on weather.com when they're just checking the weather for that day. It'll be 3 to 10 times more profitable to get on the page that actively discusses the Husky Toolboxes. So with that said, just on the Google Display Network, you can target individual web pages. My favorite thing to do is target individual web pages. If somebody has reviewed my competitor product, I want a banner ad on that site, assuming it's possible. There's ads running there. There's banner ad spots on those pages, and just target all those review pages. If they're reading the reviews on that customer's product, it doesn't get any better in terms of a place to run banner ads. Once we've already done all the remarketing and marketing to current customers to get them to buy something else or buy again, that's the place I'm going to go, is any reviews about my competitors' products, articles, and then of course on YouTube. So with that said, okay, a couple things before I move on here. If you are in a niche that we've already been in, and we've worked in hundreds of different business niches in the last 10 years running this PPC agency, running ads on YouTube, Facebook, any place that you could basically run ads online. If we've already done all the hard work and sold that product or service for a client in your space in a different geographic area that you're in, you can take the winning ads, landing pages, campaign templates that we've already developed for your niche and buy it from us outright. Which we sell for about 4 figures, but it's turnkey profits. If you're a plumber, and we've already worked in the plumbing space, for instance, you take the winning version of the ad landing page campaign that we have that generates leads at $100 a lead. It's turnkey money, which is, and it's therefore way cheaper than trying to advertise for a while and gather the data that you need to find out what we found out. You just get right to the results, and it cuts the time out and the labor it takes to get to the results. At the very least, if you're trying to get results, you should reach out to us and find out the results we got in your niche space, so you would understand what the benefit would be just buying the template from us for your industry outright. And then with that said, if you're looking to just get to the results as quickly as possible, the best thing is just to reach out to us at Guarantee PPC and talk to me about what can be done. I can give you some estimates as to how quickly we can get your sales and profits to go up. And then, of course, what fee we would want after we've done that, because given we have a free trial where you actually don't pay until you get a certain lift of your profitability on your ads up front, we can tell you what you would get up front, assuming that there is results to get and we know we can get them. Respectively, if you're trying to get a small budget to work, maybe you're not, like I said, at the level spend-wise where we can get you an ROI, because we just can't get the kind of volume on a small spend that you have. But if you are spending the $50, $100 a day, certainly should be able to get you enough return short-term without having to pay us a fee up front, that we can get you something going. It's profitable after paying us even, and we can start to do business together. At the very least, you can reach out to me at guaranteeppc.com, and I'll give you a free assessment, let you know what kind of results it looks like we can get for you and your market. But with that said as well, that gives you an idea on how to start with a small budget and get results as soon as possible, and why, though, it takes time to actually get the results in the first place and get to profitability. It all comes down to you have to advertise some just to figure out what worked and what didn't work. And that's going to be unavoidable, at least in a competitive market. If you are in a non-competitive market where you're like the only one doing what you're doing and there's clear demand in your market for what you're doing, there is no ramp up time. I've literally set up campaigns that were profitable day one. It's just you're not going to have that if you're in plumbing services, because there's 10 people advertising on Google already in your market, in your local market, and Google's going to favor the person who's been advertising for a while and that they know serves their users the best, because that's how Google's system is set up. So to break in, you have to advertise some. Google's going to send a bit of the traffic that they know works to you, if you will, and then start to send a bit more and a bit more and a bit more. If you have a good ad and a good landing page that's as good as the leading guy or the leading 20% of people that are advertising right now, they literally send you a poorer quality user when you're unproven or they know you're a bad advertiser that can't get good click-through rates on your ad, good conversion rates on your landing page, because they want their users to get a good experience, so they want to click on ads in the future. And so their ideal outcome in their mind of how things should go is they grade everybody who's advertising. The person who does the best for their users, they send as much users to them as possible and give them the most benefit, lowest cost per click, most clicks, best quality user that they know is the most likely to convert into a customer to them, to encourage them to stick around. And the people who don't do a good job, not giving them that as a hint that they should just go away because they don't have any usefulness in your market. Google is not going to send you a bunch of traffic until they know you're doing well already, and they'll send you a bit of good traffic, but not a lot, and then you have to earn your reputation with them. By doing the work to go after the most likely to convert people first with your smaller budget and being able to do that, you're actually going to speed up the time that it takes for Google to realize how good it is. Because in the world of statistics and machine learning, the more that something beats something that's there already, the quicker they realize you have something good, that it's better than what the other guys that they were promoting most favorably before, and the sooner it can give you the good quality traffic that the leading guy gets, that's super, super converting, and giving it to them/you at the cheapest or rock bottom rates, which gets you the really, really good return. So having a small budget and having it basically have to work quickly for you, it really is a blessing in disguise, because just because you have a bunch of money doesn't mean you can automatically win. You can have unlimited money, but if you go to market on Google with a landing page ad, they don't even want you. They really don't. Or they'll price you so high that, basically their goal would be to price you out. They want to try everybody that is willing to step up to the plate and try advertising as a way to constantly make the ads that are available better over time. But their goal isn't absolutely to just take the highest dollar advertiser, because if they did that, they would burn out their people that are coming to Google in the first place, and they'd be eventually getting to the point where they ignore ads, and then that would kill their entire business right there. So because it has to work right away, you can just, instead of picking this blanket everything in your market, you can pick the most likely to succeed areas to advertise, which will get Google to recognize you sooner, and do the work to have a really good ad and a good landing page that'll beat your competition, and you'll get things to work because you have to make it work, if you will. And if you have a better ad and a better landing page than your competition, you're always going to make good money, because that's what Google's looking for, and that's just, generally speaking, who they want to make money. Even if you're talking about search ads or display ads or whatever, they want anything that helps their users get a better experience. They want to help those users out. And so, therefore, having a small budget, really, assuming you follow my advice here and you really want it to work, it can really push you in the direction of what you needed to do anyway. So, if you have any questions about anything I cover here, leave me a comment below. I get back to every single person who leaves me a comment or a question on this channel, usually within 24 hours time. But I thank you for watching.